Hey guys, this is Allison from Allykatkreations. How are you? Still here. If you can, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I would appreciate it. It helps me get my word out, which is a collective, which is spirit, source, the positive polarity. If you get anything from my work, an epiphany, a connect the dot, a mic drop moment, a download, a new book to read, or a new author to explore, please consider helping my work. The links will be in the drop box below the video. And if you would like to help me in my move, that's also appreciated. And I thank you to everybody who's liked, shared, and subscribed, who preaches the Amish mindset on a daily basis and gets the word out and helps others, because we should be of service to others. The law of one. Interesting though, before I begin, I listened to a channeler today. Her name is Pamela. Holy shit. First of all, I don't necessarily listen to all the channelers, because we're all sources of that stuff, right? She's a beacon, and she got Dolores Cannon and has been working with Dolores Cannon. If you're on my Facebook, check it out, or my Telegram. I do post those channelings. Unlike Ann Tucker, who channels the angelic realms, Pamela channels people who have passed on. Holy shitballs. Go watch that video, because there's profoundness in everything that Dolores Cannon has to project through the channel. As Dolores Cannon did pass away, here's my co-host. Just in time, working cat. And why I'm mentioning this, get her cuteness on camera, is because Dolores is working with Ra. She's working with the Council of Nine, energetically, her essence. But she's working with Ra. Why is this important? Because the notes I'm going to go over today, the game has changed from when Ra wrote this. And she goes into a few things from the Ra collective in that channeling. Again, spirit syncs, because let me tell you what, I was on these notes. I started them after the last video, and then I wanted to do a couple of other things. And I'm like, holy shit, I got to get back to that today. It's heavy stuff. Very heavy stuff. Would you like to read my notes, Kat? She's like, not really. Not really. No, thank you. Oh, thank you for the kitty kisses. So this is the Law of One, Book 3, Session 65, August 8th, 1981. Just going to eat it. The questioner asked Ra, in their near future, which to us would imply now, if our seeking will increase with those incarnated physically now, well, we'll become more aware of the creation as it is or as it's opposed. Will we be more reoriented to the basic concepts? So when they were writing this, obviously it was 1981, and things have very heavily changed since then. Ra responds, speaking with an analogy of a hole in the curtain. So if you look outside of a window and little tiny hole where our eyes will peer for possibly the first time through the window beyond. This above carries further into the next query, which the questioner asks about the reason why wanderers, starseeds, light workers, also those harvested to third density, who may see beyond the curtain, like some of us already can, find being here a privilege, which I damn sure don't, but I'm sure my soul would say yes. Also beneficial to time to be upon this planet, which may give them the opportunity to be fully of service because of an increased seeking. Ra responds that this indeed was the intention of the wanderers prior to incarnation, though getting tied up in earthly karma and affairs for some may prohibit the intended service. So what's being gathered here is more questions about the starseeds, the wanderers, the different densities of us, throughout all these questions that are being asked. And no thanks. What we're looking at is that some of us can see beyond certain veils. Not all veils. Not the dead veil where you can see spirit, not the veil where you can see your star seeds and the families, the star families, and or other densities and planes of existence, because some people absolutely can, but they can't see it all. Some, and we'll go into it later, there's a reason why we all have different abilities. And we all bring different things to the table, because as billions of us are here, each of us play a specific role in our coming into carnation. So that's why Ra would say it is a privilege and it's beneficial to be here, because we're here to impact the planet. And through our veil of forgetting, they're seeking that we have instinct to do, is to look beyond the veils, to look and ask the deeper questions, whether people are not cognizant of it, and they don't. This one really wants attention right now. Miss Prissy. The questioner asking about the greater services the wanderers brought, with the possibility of greater services by the seniority of vibration of incarnation polarized on the planet, with the influx of wanderers, increasing the mental configuration to a more spiritual basis, thus creating a better atmosphere for service. And not to say that there are wanderers that are of the religious paradigm, but there are, from what I've been noticing, and it's changed drastically since this time that it was written, that there is a greater number of people who don't affix to a religion, that they're more spiritually inclined, more metaphysical, more science in terms of math and quantum physics based. Than they are at looking and idolatrizing a deity, any of them, right? And then Ross says this is correct. So we came here to help the mental configuration of our planet. And through a lot of us being more spiritual, it's balancing out the atmosphere for the service to happen, for the service that we are supposedly going to be doing. Thank you, Kat. The questioner asks about the paranormal activity. As we progress into fourth density and the changes taking place on the physical third, Ra responds that paranormal activity occurring is not to increase seeking, but are the manifestation of those vibratory configurations that aid the entity to contact the gateway of intelligent infinity. Intelligent infinity is what they call source, creator, the all in Hermeticism. As of late, there are a lot of people seeing beyond the veil. The curtain, the hole in the curtain is a lot wider now. I, in fact, as a child, saw a lot of things, a lot of very demonic things, a lot of shadow figures, a lot of spirits. And that kind of waxes and wanes in my life. And recently that has upticked. I don't necessarily like the things that I, again, am seeing, is particularly in my house, which I'm going to have to, way before I move, so that the people that come here don't have to deal with crazy demonic shadow people. And not to say that the demonics are a bad thing. It's the understanding of the illusion. It's understanding why you could see them. And that it's okay if you see them. Because then your awareness is there for it. And then you could better help and protect yourself. But more people are starting to see little blips. A lot of my friends are seeing things in their perceptual vision, their side vision. They're like, I thought I just saw something. Oh, maybe not, right? But that something most likely was paranormal. Also from the 1980s, the uptick in paranormal shows is exclusively extraordinary. On a lot of channels, there's ghost hunters and people who do the EMPs. They read the room, and then they have the ghost box and all those other cool gadgets I wish I could afford, just to document that the dead are alive in terms of vibratory rates, that they exist. They do. Watch those shows. There's proof. But there's skeptical people. Well, there's Photoshop, and that could be all edited in and out. Yeah, okay. Go on a ghost hunt. And not that you want to be stirring that stuff up, but if you have a skeptical mind, it's something to really think about so that you understand this stuff is real. It's not tangible to everybody's eyes because you're still in third density with a third dimensional mind. But you're still loved. Ra makes a really good quote that I have to express. Quote, the greater opportunity for service due to the many changes which will offer many challenges, difficulties, and seeming distress within your illusion, to many who then will seek to understand, if we may use this misnomer, the reason for the malfunctioning of the physical rhythms of their planet. Why are things upticking in the world right now is because there is a humongous shift. Bye, third density. Hello, four. And a lot of the veil is breaking. A lot of the AI, the simulation, whatever you want to, the illusion, whatever you want to call it, it's thinning. It's not because it's October and it's almost Halloween time. Sorry. There might be something to that, I'm sure. But in all honesty, more people are going to start seeing things. Don't get freaked out. And it's to challenge your perception. It's to challenge you and give you growth in your soul, to comprehend and withstand things that you don't understand, to give you challenges so your soul can grow, to show you visually things that you might not see. And then suddenly they're there. Holy crap, what do I do with that? Right? So you're being challenged right now, many people. If it hasn't happened for you, don't worry. But if it does, don't freak out. There are plenty of guides on how to protect your essence and your vehicle. But just be aware that time doesn't really exist anywhere but here. And that the physical rhythms of the planet are off. Right now, the Schumann is extraordinarily calm because we're at the eye of the storm. Now, that can take forever to pass through us again because we were getting heavily hit and now we're in a lull period, and it might come back up whipping, but we just don't know when that's going to happen. Right? Think about a hurricane and think about the cycles that it runs through. Right now we're in the eye of the storm of this awakening, of this transformation, and things are kind of calm. We're getting a lot of downloads, we're getting a lot of things coming to us and in streaming through us. So just be aware, they're called the ascension symptoms, that these things are throwing us and our bodies off. Just keep calm. Do not stay in fear. And be mindful of your mindset, because all of the work that I'm doing ties all in together. Now, this is, this next part is extremely important to what I read literally yesterday with politics. Questioner asks, quote, how would conventional warfare offer the opportunities for seeking and service? Ra replies, the possibility / probabilities exist that our planet with certain areas may get involved in what Ra says is guerrilla warfare. What the fuck is happening in our paradigm right now? In waves. You know, the blocks of bricks, the fires, the stuff that we're not seeing underground. Oh yeah. Quote from Ra, the ideal of freedom from the so-called invading force of either the controlled fascism or the equally controlled social common ownership of all things would stimulate great qualities and quantities of contemplation upon the great polarization implicit in the contrast between freedom and control, end quote. Quote, in this ongoing struggle, the light of freedom would burn within the mind-body-spirit complexes capable of such polarization. I'm going to repeat that. In this ongoing struggle, light versus dark, the light of freedom would burn within the mind-body-spirit complexes capable of such polarization. This would impart the seeking inner knowledge which takes root, end quote. So there's too many people back in the day, again, talking about this war. Today in the channeling that I listened to, there's no nuclear. You can't have nuclear weapons, FYI, because they have to be stable in order for them to go off properly. But the nuclear plants are being disposed of by our friends upstairs or all around us. In what the Awaspe would say, atmospheria. So you don't have to worry about that. We are of their creation. Our soul is of God. Sorry, guys. Somebody's thinking of me. Our soul's of God, our essence, our being. Our vehicle is from them. So they don't want us to wipe ourselves out like we did in Atlantis. Just they don't want that to happen again. We already did that. Been there, done that. Let's not repeat. But what are we facing in the world right now? Control, fascism. Many different countries, it doesn't matter where you land in this world. We're all facing this same battle of light and dark, polarized entities, squaring off of dominion of this plane and planet. Here again, possibility probabilities. What does that mean? It may or may not occur, but it is. Especially the guerrilla warfare aspect of it is. There are a lot of things that we optically aren't being shown around the world unless you are there in it to win it, and you're probably not allowed to talk about it. This is literally going on. But why is this happening? Why? To wake you up. To make you come closer to humanity, to make you understand that it's not just you, it's everybody suffering. It's everybody that needs to come together to make a change to polarize this planet on a positive path. It's getting there. It's getting there. The biggest thing I took away from that channeling today, huge. And I'm on this basis too, because I don't necessarily see the negative polarized entities as pure evil and to be judged, because they're here to give us an experience like we are giving them their experience. We're both learning off of each other. So this is a grand experiment. It's a school. And right now we're battling it out. But in totality, it's just for experience. It's to grow us up fast. We should have already been on fourth density by now. But certain things didn't play out the way they should have. Timelines were manipulated. Ra doesn't really talk about timelines, and further I'll go into it. There's an importance, though, not to judge. Both sides have to do a duty, and both sides there's casualties. As much as we like to say they deserve what they get, and sometimes we think they really do, right? It's not us for us to judge. It's for us to come together and to help people through it. It's to have the Amish mindset. It's to start building the social memory complex. We can't have, or what you would say, unity consciousness if we're not in unity. under the message that we are allowing this group of people to control us optically, both sides. They dictate to you how the narrative is going to play out, what the AI is suggesting. Why are we going? Why? A lot of people, and I love you guys. Don't think I'm being mean, but a lot of people send me videos and stuff. I'm like, what? But why are you allowing that to dictate your timeline? Because we're all having individualized timelines at this moment in time. Why are you projecting that on yourself? Things are going to play out how they're going to play out in divine timing. But you have to stop giving these things control over you. Right? Some things are out of our control. They just are. Like, I can't put a gun to the banker to say, why hasn't these people's mortgages have come in yet? Like, why is this taking so long? Other people, it's quick. Why does it take so long? It takes 2 milliseconds to send and transfer money in an online app. Why is this so difficult? Why is this process so long? There shouldn't be such a thing. So there are things out of our control, but you control your mindset, and they went over that with the Kabbalion. But now a lot of us are now coming to the realization of what the term free really truly means in all its totality, and why in certain countries we are not free. We're still under control. We're being dictated to while we should be governing ourselves. Do no harm to anybody, but live your life. We still live under this crazy simulation, illusion that we have to stop buying into. And Dolores keeps saying the same thing with working with Ra, is to stop giving in on both sides. Work on yourself. Be the independent, free thinking being that you are. Your creative spark comes from source. Don't let anybody control it, or you, for that matter. Because that's what they want on both sides. So no nuclear war, according to Dolores Cannon's essence. And I believe that because that would take us all out, and all the other planes of existence that overlay on top of us. So we don't have to worry about that. But what we do have to worry about is this new earth that we are trying to transition into, and how we want it to look. And we all have to start doing and helping each other out to uplift everybody, not just a few. Just putting that out there. This is a fun part. I didn't write this whole chunk down, but they talk about Edgar Cayce and how he was a prophet. And I say a lot of this all the time, but I'll get into it. The questioner asked about prophetic words about the earth changes of third going into fourth density, which Rod doesn't say it quite like I do, but it's based on the timelines. One with the foresight picks up on, and of course there is a percentage of probability possibility To all claims, biases and distortions will accompany much prophecy. So Kim Clement is another prophet, but he's in our current, well, he was in our current time. So things in shifting of timelines wasn't as from Edgar Casey's time, where time really did shift, and so did Nostradamus. And there are certain markers in the Akash that cannot be changed, in my opinion. You know, we have free will, so things can change at a moment's notice from any direction, but certain things and events are supposed to play out in this simulation. So there are predestined things that do happen and occur, and that's a catalyst for our collective awakening. So when a medium or a psychic tells you what they see in your near future, if you change your timeline to something bigger and better, that timeline it collapses, or it plays out in another multi-dimensional multiverse, and it doesn't happen for you in the physical. I can't tell you how many times I was told you're going to get married, you're going to have kids, you're going to be having this beautiful life, blah, blah, blah. Never happened. Yet. Why? Because my timeline keeps changing, because I keep bettering myself, I keep growing my soul, I keep emerging into a bigger, better version of myself. Going through extremely hard catalysts, right? My life plays out differently, maybe somewhere else, but right now I'm building up to my I am presence, my alignment with source. So what Edgar Casey might have said may or may not play out in exacts. Maybe some of it might play out, and a bit of it is. Same with Nostradamus. A bit of his prophecies are playing out a little differently, but pretty much on it. And Kim Clement, holy shit, playing out. And it's almost entirely exact. So there are people that can prophesize properly and pretty much on it. Are they going to be 100% right? Most likely not, because again, there's time distortion, there's an illusion, there's a veil, and things can change. People's free will changes, where 1 minute they're a negative polarized human being, and the next something changes them into a positive, and their whole paradigm shifts. And so everything around them shifts. So this is something to take into account when you go see a medium, when you go see, and they kind of tell you certain things. Like sometimes I could see baby bubbles, little bubbles behind people, females. And you know, I see certain things behind people. Does it mean it'll transpire right away? Who knows? Again, it's timelines and divine timing. I can't read that. I'm not advanced as much as other people too. So I think that was very interesting in picking up that whole thing. I just didn't want to go too far into it, but I thought it was good to mention that, because again, people watch a lot of different people, channels, prophets, seers, and they say certain things and people hold on to every single word because they want hope. And not to say that we shouldn't have hope. It should be realistic with what is being said, especially in prophecy. Certain events will play out, might not be exact, but they'll play out very similar to their words, and others won't. And it's not because they were wrong. It's just that is happening somewhere else in another dimension, in another timeline, in another multiverse. Again, the vibratory rate of things change. The octaves, sub-octaves, sub-sub-octaves change. Frequencies change. The in-streaming of information from upstairs changes. Always wanting to embetter your soul. So just understand that. It's not an easy concept to even grasp. But once you do, then you'll see life and things in a different light. This next part's very interesting. The questioner then asks, did the wanderers know pre-incarnation the objective to reduce confusion on the planet? Before I answer what Ross says, a lot of people have been talking about the great confusion that's been happening within a lot of communities as we're all trying to find the truth. Now, many of us who have the veil thinning that we could see beyond illusion are starting to notice what this confusion really is. It's deliberate. It's meant to be there. People right now don't know which way is up or down. They don't know who's good or bad. They know of a few people, but then their assumptions might be wrong eventually. We don't know, right? But there's some of us that need to tap more into our instinct, our discernment, not what is dictated to you by another person. And just like 1984, right, George Orwell rewrote a lot, his character, right? They rewrote history. So we really don't know what is actually up or down, what is true or not true, because everything is an illusion. But many of us have come here to help with that confusion pre our coronation here. Ra, quote, it was the aim of wanderers to serve the entities of this planet in whatever way was requested. And it was also the aim of wanderers that their vibratory patterns might lighten the planetary vibration as a whole, thus ameliorating the effects of planetary disharmony and palpitating any results of this disharmony. End quote. Also, that we go where the love and light is needed. A lot of people in the spiritual community talk about the light grids, that each of us are points of light in our respective place that we inhabit. That we are. Sometimes the great move happens where our light is needed in other spots, where the gaps needed to be filled in with a brighter lighthouse. And that is happening as more people start turning on their lights in a similar area. You might be called to move somewhere else. I'm being called to move somewhere else because there's a lot of light happening now in New York. A lot more people are like, I don't like what I'm seeing. What the hell is going on here? More people are coming online. My light is needed to wake up more people through my toroidal field and many of you. So don't, if you feel the heat and the call to move, do it. And again, that's all in divine timing. We were put here to help the planet, to help Mother Gaia. We were here to help the transition of densities. No matter what age you are. And as of today, as of that channeling I heard from Dolores Cannon, there are 7 waves, possibly more, of starseeds, wanderers, light workers that have incarnated. No longer 3, there's 7. That's a lot of light coming into this world and still is coming in. So be aware that the kids now are their own beacons of light, that they're not in any way, shape, or form happy with what the circumstances of this world is. Even though we try to give them everything, they know that there's something off, and they know innately in them, they know that something's wrong. And just like us, who are aware, we're anchoring that light down so that there is less confusion, that there is the light shining on the illusion itself. And each one of us is given that task individually. The questioner asks Ra about the wanderers and if their physical vehicle aids the plane of existence in any way through their vibrations, just as electrical polarity or changing a battery perhaps, also the polarity to aid the total consciousness of the planet. Before I give Ra's response, what do you think? If you're a light being emoting in your toroidal field, light, frequencies. And if we go back to the Kabbalion with mental consciousness, what do you think? Because you can project that out in totality in the location where you are. And vocally, telling your 2 cents. Ra states each wanderer has its own unique abilities. Like I keep saying, biases, also specialties, which each portion of each density represented among the wanderers comes with a varied pre-incarnated talent, and when here expresses them upon this plane. Again, so we're all unique, we're all different, we all have different abilities, we all have different things that we bring to the table here on this plane of existence. So not one person expresses the same abilities as someone else. You can all have a caveat of abilities. Some shine more than others, but what yours not shining brightly in, someone else is shining it for you to help you out, while your higher ability is shining where theirs isn't. So again, don't get hung up on the ability thing, because we're all unique and we all have something to bring to the table. Basically, each wanderer offers a special service. In addition to the doubling effect of love and light upon the planet, also the basic function of serving as a beacon or a shepherd. So there's many beacons of light, and there's many shepherds that usher those people to the light. Which one may you be? Write in the comments. I would love to know what you think you are. And I don't think you could, I honestly think you could be both. Because as we're transiting right now through the octaves, many of us are the light posts, the lighthouse, blaring our light, in our local area. But sometimes some of us also can be the shepherds at the same time. I think you could be both. One, of course, being higher than the other. I think I'm a lighthouse, the beacon. But I also think I'm a shepherd to a smaller extent. We'll see. Time is warped, right? So we'll see how this transition goes and what each of us fall under. The other density wanderers upon this plane expresses the vibratory function of that density. Fifth, for example, being wisdom. 4 through 6 wanderers, 6 density wanderers, whose ability to serve as passive broadcasters of love and light is great, though the talents are varied. So again, each of us who has abilities, some of them might be passive now because they're not ready to be activated yet. When the transition happens, you might come online in a snap, start getting your downloads, start getting into your abilities, start learning what they are and how they use them. And right now, all you are meant to be is the broadcaster of love and light. So there are people who are wanderers, who are starseeds, who are just here to be the light right now. That's not to say that your abilities won't come back on, come online and you're going to be broadcasting crazy frequencies to the planet, which is amazing. So know that you are amazing. And if you think you're not, you are. Period. End of story. So the 3 basic functions, once the veil of forgetting is breached, the first 2 being basic, the third unique. So once you breach that veil of forgetting, which many of us are, many of us already have that little hole in the curtain becoming wider. So as a child, I recalled a lot of my past lives. I had a lot of dreams, reoccurring dreams, vivid dreams about some. I've lived a lot, mind you. I'm not going to remember all 13,000 or 28,000 lives between me and my other self. I'm just not. It's not practical. But I have the significant lives that I've lived starting to come back to me in snippets. I'm also having my starseed memories come in snippets, and my angelic self coming in snippets. Things that are just like, that's odd. Why was I thinking that? Why was I shown that? That's weird. Many of us are having those things happen to us now. Most of them are going to be basic, but then our functions and that uniqueness will come soon. The questioner is curious on the mixed harvest from both the negative and positive mind, body, spirit complexes. So, like I was saying before, we're on third density. We inhabit both poles, positive and negative. We have 2 buildings and we inhabit either or, but there are a few that are in the middle between buildings. We have the positive service for self, and service for others, because you have to service yourself in order to be able to service for others. But this is the service of others, and just service to self. People who are only into themselves and do controlling things. They're both of God. Right? We think of negative as being bad, but negative isn't bad. That's the role they came here to play. That's the experience that they were here to do. And if they're going to stay on that track, they're going to polarize negatively. But most of the time they're not. They're going to come to the positive because it was just a role that they needed to experience in this life, which would put them in that middle. Right? So there's people in this building, and a whole mix of people here. And I'm going to tell you the percentages that Ra, back in 1981, is saying. Ra response, 10% are negative. That's not a lot at all. Again, people playing a role for us to wake up. That's the role that they chose to play this round in the simulation. Doesn't mean they're necessarily their whole soul essence and the entirety and their totality is evil. Right? They're just playing a role, being the narcissist, being a controller, as catalyst to wake us here up, right? They're going to come over to this building because that was just a role that they were playing this round. They're good, right? 60% is positive because not everybody gets harvested in this round. Not everybody's going to transition with us. Not everybody's going on to round 4 of the 4th density, right? Only souls that are up for graduation, up for the harvest, are going to be harvested. Again, we'll arrange this experience. Many of us know innately what's going to happen to us. I have a friend who's very religious, spiritual. She's like on the cusp. She knows she's not done with 3rd density lessons. She knows it. She's like, I'm not ready to move up. I'm going to be coming back. I have a feeling. I'm like, I hope not. I would love for you to be with me. But again, if that's the choice that you made with God, I can't do anything about that. But I love you no matter what. So some people have the knowing that they're not being transitioned up. They're going to stay. Or be moved into another 3rd density existence to finish out their karma. Or, I mean, Dolores is like, there really isn't any more karma, but working out arrangements that they made with other souls. I don't know. That things have changed. Things have definitely changed. Dolores even says it, going off of a lot of what Ra has stated. Things have changed. The paradigm has shifted. It's not really collecting karma anymore. It's learning and moving forward, regardless of what it is, and neutralizing it. Understanding both sides. And then 30% is mixed with nearly all positive. So again, it's those people that were playing that role that are now in the middle, in the park between 2 buildings, and most of them, for the majority of them, will be going to the positive. Harvest. Polarity. Next, the questioner asks about forgetting process and the density of 4 when it comes to the wanderer. Ra responds, he states that the first is genetic properties of the connection of the mind-body-spirit complex, and the cellular structure of the body is different for 3rd density than the combined 3rd, 4th density. So right now we're in between. Second is free will of 3rd density needs preservation through through the penetration, though penetration can take place to an extent where the wanderer remembers what it is and why it is here on this plane. The infringement would come if they activate the more dense bodies to live in a godlike manner. The new fourth density entities that are showing newer abilities are doing so at the present experience, not a memory. So this is where the assumption symptoms come in. That's when we are being tuned up. In our third density body right now, many of us are in third density bodies with the DNA codes ready to go, and we're being activated slowly so that we don't humanly combust. That wouldn't be good. So we're moving up through these densities. We're getting our ascension symptoms. You're getting the buzzing in the ear, the discomfort in your tummy, you're purging. Many different ways you could do that. A lot of us are going through that right now. The kids probably not as much because they're already in their fourth density bodies, just getting their activations too, but not as crazy as some of us. And many of us know now, are becoming aware of what we actually are and why we're here. We have numerous missions. We have soul contract missions, soul arrangement missions. We have our individual soul growth that we need to obtain. Then we have the tribe, the soul family first. That's your, your immediate family. And then you have your tribe and then totality of humanity. So there's plenty of missions within missions. It's like playing World of Warcraft. You're on quests and you go to different lands and you meet different people, and some might be your family and some might be your tribe and some might be your soul family. Some might be your star family. You have missions all over the place, right? And you tackle each quest, and when you get done, you get experience points. That's the best way I can explain that without losing people. But the infringement could come in that you take on a godlike deity aspect, and that's no bueno in at least third density. But that has not happened yet. I don't think anybody's going to transform into some crazy ass looking boss from World of Warcraft. Although that would be really fun to just see that. But I don't think any of us could do that. But on a basis state, this is really good information. A lot of people are still very struggling in their mindset about percentages and about what's going to happen to them and what is, what. Most of us are starseeds. I think everybody is to an extent. It's a matter of, and again, there's no one planet better or race better than another. And we've been almost all of them. If you've lived a long soul life, you are many different things. Soul and divine. And you got to trust in that. And you got to trust in yourself. This stuff is not easy to comprehend sometimes. There's a lot of details that go into this. But just know that if you're a good person, you're on a good path, you're being a service to others, you're doing for others, and you're really taking in that Amish mindset, the collective consciousness, coming together like a village and doing for other people as much as you possibly can. You're going to graduate and you're going to harvest to a positive polarity. And that's the goal. This planet is on a positive course of timeline, and we need to keep that there. how do we do and how do we transform is by putting action into motion and making things have a cause and effect towards a positive polarity. We all need to continue to do the inner work on ourselves to get those negative emotions, those traumas, those things that like are deep inside our little child self. We really need to heal ourselves, go deep. Dark night of the soul. That's what this planet is going through right now. It's turbulent. There's a lot of chaos happening. There's a lot of things challenging a lot of us. For me, it's like, when am I going to pay my bills? When's the next meal? What's going to happen with the house? When? And I'm like, okay, divine timing, great. But in the meantime, it's like every day I have to live in this second to the moment, because if I dwell on those things, I lower my frequency. And I don't want to do that. You know, I wish the help was coming in more, but it's not right now. But we need to change that. It's not about Allison. It's about everybody. We need to get everybody on the same page, everybody in equality. And the way you can contribute is being the lighthouse that you are on an everyday basis, doing and uplifting people on an everyday basis, uplifting yourself and taking time for yourself. That's key. You need to be your greatest and best in order to help others. So I suggest doing that. I will try to link the video of that channeling if you're interested. I think it is very important, especially if you follow the Law of One and Dolores Cannon's work, because she's now working with Ra, the collective of Ra, the social memory complex of Ra. And that's really exciting. Really exciting. And if you get lost with the vibration and vibratory stuff, go back and view my Kabbalion videos, because that is all, the Hermetic teachings are all tied into Ra. That's why a lot of these things that I read are interlaced within each other. It's not obvious, but they all tie in at some point to each other. And you'll have an easier time understanding this body of work when you can understand those principles and you understand the physics and the quantum that's all involved in all of this. And then Ross spitting out from 1980s, all this crazy shit that's now playing out 40 years later, just about. Today, I am 6 months away from 40. It's my half birthday. And it's Morgan's half birthday. Old lady's going to be 18. Grandma. She's older than me now. So I hope all of you enjoyed that. Sending each and every one of you love and light. And I hope to see you guys on the next one. Have a good rest of your weekend. Please don't forget to hit that like button, please. Share and subscribe. Pass it around. Other people might need to hear these messages now. It's important. We all need to be on the same page at some point. And I'm still seeing that people said that they're going to do things and they don't. It's not putting action into motion and helping others. And again, helping doesn't necessarily need to be financial. It's about bettering the world. And what part are you playing? And how are you using your abilities, your uniqueness? How are you throwing that into the fold? Think about it. I want to hear it. Write it in my comments. Till next time, guys. Bye.